I'm Raj Bhavsar. You guys want to introduce yourself?
I'm John Horton.
Hi.
Chris Brooks.
And
Bill Foster.
awesome. So, okay. So I'll get this started. Bill, how long have you been coaching?
This will be my 49th year in gymnastics. As of September 1st, that was my 50th anniversary starting coaching in any sports.
Wow. Okay. So let's go any sports for a second. I don't know if you guys all know this, but were you always a gymnastics coach?
No, I never did gymnastics. I was never a gymnastics coach until I got started with this. I started coaching football and baseball. And I worked for a really wonderful PE teacher, elementary school PE teacher, who taught me great things about coaching. And my senior year in high school, he said, "What do you do in the winter?" And I said, "Not much, because I hate basketball." And he said, "Well, I have a gymnastics club at my elementary school that meets after school every day. It doesn't pay anything, but I could use a little bit of help. If you'd like to come up, I'd love to have you there." And I just thought Dean was such a great teacher and mentor for me. There was no way I was going to pass up a chance to work with him again. So I went up there knowing absolutely nothing about gymnastics. So I got in there, and there were about 5 or 6 boys and 60 girls. And the boys didn't know anything, and I didn't know anything, so we were a perfect fit. And we got hooked up, and we started learning things together. And of course, a lot of it was working with the girls as well, and learning how to teach tumbling and everything. For me as a coach, it started with tumbling. At that time, in '66, there were no clubs around. There were a few dance studios that did tumbling, but there were no gymnastics clubs. And so I was just going up to Peabody Elementary School after I got done with school each day, and I'd stay there and work with Dean for a couple of hours with the gymnastics. So it was a matter of going wherever people taught gymnastics and asking questions and listening and watching. And most of my background, my basic background in gymnastics, which I would say was from '66 to about '74, what I learned was going to different high schools that have boys gymnastics and listening to what their coaches had to say. And I'd go to camps and any place I could go where they would teach me about gymnastics. And I got started in judging in '99, and that helped a lot.
You know, he came from a football background and figured out the hardest sport in the world. Not only figured it out, coached multiple national team members, world team members, and Olympic team members. And you know, a lot of the stories you used to tell me came out of that gym. You'd always come into the gym and talk about Lance and talk about Trent and talk about Knee-High. So what was that experience like for you?
A Gold Cup was incredible. Ed Birch is the owner. He remains one of my very best friends. And he and I met each other. His background in gymnastics is better than mine. He competed, and we just hit it off right away. And we both had the same dreams, and we both had the same ideas that we wanted to do. And we would talk and talk about maybe one of these days things will work out that we can get together and we can coach together. And so I went down to Gold Cup, and we matched as well as any pair of coaches ever has. We were the right combination. So we worked together, and it was an amazing 9 years. Absolutely amazing. We built the gym at Gold Cup. We had the slab poured and the steel put up and he and I did everything else. We did all the framing, we put up all the drywall, we did everything. Not knowing anything more about doing construction work than I knew about gymnastics when I started, I went ahead and did it anyway. And so I came to Houston. The guy who was running Cypress at that time was a guy named Chris Willeth. And Chris had been one of my gymnasts in Denver. And they were looking for a boys coach for Cypress, somebody who would build an elite level program. And so I wound up down here. As a coach, my job was point him in the right direction, help him, give him the best information I could, guide him, be there for him when things hit rock bottom, and be there for him when things were great. But ultimately, whatever you achieve will belong to you and you alone. And I use this example all the time. There is a reason why when you get that medal in competition, they don't have the coach come up there and get a medal too. It's not our job. We didn't make that happen. You made it happen. We gave you the tools, but you're the one who worked with the tools and made it happen. And I've always approached every kid I've coached that way. What bothers me is seeing people give up on themselves or seeing people give up on other people. And I think that's what makes it work, is that I don't have any confusion about who's doing the work. And I won't let you have any confusion about who's doing the work. It's you. It's all up to you. And dreaming the dream is great, but you have to work to achieve the dream. And I can't do that work for you, and no coach can. If I'm at a competition or a workout or something like that, it doesn't really matter which. If you're going to see me talking to somebody when you've just won the gold medal on the event, you don't need me. But when you've just had everything turn upside down and you're standing there with this look on your face that says, why did this happen to me? I trained, I did my stuff, and everything went wrong. Why did this happen? That's when you need me. That's when you need a coach to talk to you and at least try and give you the perspective. It's not the end of the world.
You talk about coaching each individual guy in different styles, and that's one of the things that I think Bill was so great at. Bill creates good gymnasts because not only does he tailor how he treated each guy, but also he let guys do the gymnastics that fit them. The experts would tell Bill, don't teach your guy that, don't teach your guy that, don't teach your guy that. But then again, Bill would see in each individual guy, yeah, but this guy's good at that, and he's good at that. So I'm going to let them do what they are good at. So his knowledge trickled down to the coaches around him, and that's why I think one of the reasons that Houston gymnastics has been successful is because of Bill Foster and the knowledge that he has passed down to everyone in this area. Watching you teach Jason Krause Australia on P-bars. Watching you
undergrip giant
watching-
release and back. Remember that one?
watching you teach that. Watching Raj do a shoot to plange on
Yeah.
rings. No one did that.
Yeah.
It's too hard, but Raj did it because you told him he could. I remember Bill used to say, hey, you're going to have a built-in fall on this routine.
Oh
Yeah,
man, the
oh,
art
yes.
of the built-in
The
fall.
art of the built-in fall.
Bill Foster.
Bill
Oh
would,
my God.
Bill would throw a skill in your routine that you just learned, and you fall on it 95% of the time, but he knew
He's okay
if you
with it.
started competing it and training it, you're eventually going to pick up on it and be good at it. And it worked. No other coaches do that.
I did a ginger 9 times in competition. 9.
That's missed
So
in one meet.
you talk about unorthodox coaching methods that work. I mean, we're living examples of it. In one meet, I had a ginger. I wasn't catching it. I remember vividly. Get up there. I did the ginger. Fall flat on my stomach. Miss. He's standing there. Do it again. Get up there. I go again. Ginger, miss. Flat on my stomach. Do it again. And I'm thinking, like, well, usually we do this twice, Bill. And I chalk up. I look at him. Get up there, Ginger. Miss again. Do it again. This time the judges are like chiming in like, Bill, we got to move on with the meet. And he's like, no, he's going to do it again. I did it at least probably 4 or 5 more times. Guess what? After that, I never missed Gingers. My back hurt, but I never missed Gingers. So John is exactly right. You know, you have to find things that work for your own gymnastics. And more importantly, you know, we're grateful to have had a coach that fostered, hey, check that out, fostered that within us.
There's never one way to learn a skill. Experts will say, this is how you do a skill, you have to teach it one way. Not only did Bill let guys do unique skills, but he let guys do a skill that worked for them. And my example is what we were talking about on parallel bars today. Chris Brooks right here has one of the best peach handstands on P-bars that you'll ever see in the world. It's powerful, it has tons of lift, but it is extremely unorthodox the way he does it. It's different, but it works. And when he was doing it, the experts tried to change how he did it. And Bill fought every single day with them about, no, this is how Chris does it. I don't care if no one else does it like that. He's going to do it like this. And I really think he's a pioneer in that style of coaching in gymnastics. And the longer we do the sport, the more we're finding that some of the best guys in the world that do some of the coolest skills don't do it like it's supposed to be done.
I always think of Bill as one of the founders of this age of gymnastics. You know, previously when he talks about Gold Cup, those guys were Olympians and fantastic gymnasts, you know. And where do you think we learned those philosophies from? The ability to dream that big. I mean, I got that from Bill. You know, because there were so many times for me where I would shut down on my own dreams and say, I'm not good enough. Maybe I just don't have what it takes. But this is the guy that would not let me listen to that voice. But going into the last event and doing high bar, a double layout, something that I had been struggling with in the gym, could not figure it out how to do it right. It was on, it was off, it was on, it was off, but I had to compete in it. At the end of my high bar routine, I was nervous, and I'm doing the giants, and I see Bill under there, and he just looks up and he says to me, Raj, it's just you and me. Forget about everything else, it's just you and me. Let's do this. That's not something you would hear normally from a coach at the end of your routine. You might hear like toes or come on, work. This was in the middle, at the end of my routine, in the middle of my whole routine, he was talking to me, but at the end, I heard exactly what I needed to hear, and I nailed my double layout. He likes to think that we, the gymnasts, do it. But in reality, there's magic that guys like Bill Foster provide for us. I could not have won those 2 U.S. championships if Bill wasn't my coach. Bill, I think, is the type of guy, he's the first person to tell you he was wrong. But I think what he enjoys the most out of the sport is a guy that is actually going to converse and debate him and challenge him rather than just a yes man.
The greatest coaches are the ones that never think that they know everything. That's what creates a great coach. Somebody that's always evolving and always learning.
I've never seen anybody who wasn't worth believing in. And I believe in every one of you guys.